Good morning, Unity of Richmond. Good morning. We are so glad to see you today. Welcome to our 11 a.m. service. I'm Reverend Valorie K. Gunsch, and we'd like to welcome those of you who are visiting for the first time today. If you're in the room, just please stand up so we can make sure that we can go and get to know you today. Thank you.
Welcome.
And welcome to those of you who are online as well. Please write your name in the chat if you're here for the first time. We would love to be able to contact you, welcome you in any way. And we're just so glad you're here. So here is our service leader for the day, Fred Hess.
I'm here to do the daily word. So let's begin by the topic today is I am praying for you. Arise in consciousness to help create a world that works for all. Throughout time, there's been people who led lives that changed the world forever. Their words and deeds provided hope and inspiration for those who could carry forth their legacies of love, growth, evolution, long after they left this life. Their most powerful contribution, however, was the ability to inspire others to express their own divine purpose. As more and more people reach their highest potential, the whole of humanity ascends. Today, I honor those who have led lives of service, striving for love, truth, and justice. I take steps not just to commemorate their journeys and contributions, but to embark upon my own. I rise grateful to contribute all I can to the growth and evolution of humankind. I take action, for it is your duty. We are with you. Be strong and do it. Ezra 10:4. And repeat after me. I rise in consciousness to help create a world that works for all. I rise in consciousness to help create a world that works for all. I rise in consciousness to help and create a world that works for all. Thank you.
As is customary, if you feel so inclined, please join us as we sing this congregational together, and we just enjoy each other's spirit and the joy that we bring. And we'd like to teach the world to sing, so please stand and join us and have fun.
I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow-white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. That's the song I hear. Let the world sing today. A song at peace that goes on and never goes away. Put your hand in my hand. Let's begin today. Put your hand in my hand. Help me find a way. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to teach the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land.
may be seated. Thank you.
And Forrest and Ryan. Thank you, music team. All right. I'd like to offer the opening prayer today and just give you the real daily word for today is pray for others. And as we go into prayer this morning, I would like those of you who are online and as well as here in the room, think about the others that you would like to pray for during this time of prayer. I am praying for you is our daily word today, and knowing the truth of another's wholeness, I release any thoughts of illness. I affirm divine wisdom, guiding important decisions, and divine strength, relieving any weakness. I feel the warmth of God's love bringing peace and restoring hope to those I hold in prayer. And so I wanted to bring that message out as we consider, with Ronnie's permission, we're holding Ronnie Russell in prayer as he is in the hospital, has been for a couple of weeks now. We have some get well cards for you to sign in the hallway, and continue to see the truth of his wholeness, affirm divine wisdom, guiding his important decisions, and divine strength, and feeling the warmth of God's love, bringing peace and restoring hope. And so we take a moment right now and pause with all other gatherings today in the city of Richmond and around the world who take this time to pause, to worship, and to pray. And so we are all in sync with this prayer consciousness. And in unity, we pray from that seeing from the sight of God's eyes. We see, we behold all of those that we're praying for to have comfort, to have healing, and to have peace in their lives. Anyone who is suffering, we hold this Buddhist prayer, may you be happy, may you be well, may you be peaceful and at ease. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And right now, all of those that are on our hearts, in our mind's eye, we see them enfolded in the love and the power, strength of God now, being enveloped with a warm blanket as we all are, of the holy presence of the life and light of God that is within and all around us. And those of you who are online, just type in the chat after this prayer is complete anyone that you wish to hold, just a first name or a situation you wish to hold in prayer right now. For that harmonizing power of love unifies, harmonizes, and attracts us to wholeness, to health, to prosperity, and all good things. And for this, knowing we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Valorie, we're going to do the prayer for unity now. And I'd like you to repeat it with me. Unity of Richmond is a resilient, thriving, healthy, spiritual community that is consistently aware of God as source of unlimited substance and supply from all streams of life. New channels of prosperity are opening and flowing to and through us as us to fulfill our mission and purpose. Now I will give our opportunities. All right, the first one is Life of Prayer. This is done by my wife, Barbara Hess, and she is a wonderful teacher. And this is a well-done class. So if you're not in it, you should be in it, because it is a very, very spiritual and rewarding class. Support our ability to live every moment in peace, love, and prayer while deepening the culture and space of prayer at Unity of Richmond. You can attend one or both remaining sessions, January 26th and February 2nd. We have a vision book play shop. That way we got it step by step to create your vision book. We will leave with a 6x9, 20-page beautiful book. Bring your inner guide, affirmations and prayers to create the next chapter in your life. That's February 5th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's a cost of $30 for materials provided. You'll sign up in the gathering space. Youth and Family Ministry of Richmond Nursery is going on now. So you have the nursery, infants, toddlers, individual care from the attentive nursery staff. We have elementary curriculum, celebrating my God self, students from Unity, principles through the stories and affirmations, Bible verses, and music and creative expression, guided meditation and prayer, and middle school and high school curriculum, Eye of the Storm for teens. Students explore the spiritual principles of embracing conflict and creating peace in everyday life. We're looking for great teachers. If you're interested in teaching and teaching regularly and just occasionally, or just reach out to Maggie Ellis Bland at yahoo.com, and you'll YOU Sunday, January 30th. All right, so we have youth and family news. We're following the COVID safety protocol. Classes take place during church at 11 a.m. Sunday mornings, nursery and elementary every Sunday, middle and high school, first and third Sundays. We're now accepting applications for the 2022 Board of Trustees. If you'd like to be part of furthering the work of Unity of Richmond with active interest, love, and support, please phone our church office at 804-278-6489. Annual meeting will February 27th, following the 11 a.m. service. That's when we'll vote on those members. So thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Fred. I have one more announcement, or a couple actually. One is we do still have some VCU basketball home game tickets available to bid for in silent auction. There's a game on the 26th. There's games in March, all the way through March Madness. So go ahead and take a look at this in the fellowship hall, or in the hallway. And if you'd like to bid on tickets for the basketball game, it's a fundraiser for us. And the next game is Wednesday, actually, the 26th. So we've got a set of tickets for that. And also, I have an exciting announcement that we have a book study that's beginning, a series in February, and this is just the first heads up on that, a book study series facilitated by our own Barbara Smith, and it's on the book Nice Racism, How Progressive People Perpetuate Racial Harm by Robin DiAngelo. In this study, we'll discover and discuss the concepts of the book with an open mind and an intent to increase our capacity for effective anti-racist action. Robin DiAngelo writes, as a white person to white people, and identifies common white racial patterns and explains how whites who identify as progressive can cause harm to people of color. One such example is rushing to prove that we're not racist, downplaying white advantage, etc. So discover and discuss the concepts of this book. Study is for everyone, so feel free to sign up and join this book study. It'll be online and in person, a hybrid, on Thursdays, beginning February 10th at 7 p.m. And here's the sign up for it. So we'll have this in the hallway after service. All right, let's say our first unity principle together. There is one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good. And our mission statement, we share the good news that God is unconditional love expressing as the Christ consciousness in each person. And our vision is we are transformed lives transforming the world. And now for our music team presenting their beautiful musics.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed.
Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace has brought
Me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Armand Leek, Forrest Link on guitar, yeah, and Ryan on drums. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful. Hopefully you all know by now that that song was written by John Newton Howard, who was a slave trader and came to be a man of God. He became a priest and gave up the slave trade and was trying to forgive himself for the horrendous things that had been done to people of African descent. And so that song, original words, that saved a wretch like me, that's why it comes from, the original version is like that. And also, the tune of the song has its roots in the melodies of the humming of the people who were enslaved. that their humming of that tune, that's where he got the melody of that song. It's quite an astounding story, as well as a movie, Amazing Grace, about John Wilberforce, a British Parliament member who brought the cause to abolish slavery in England the first time. All right. Well, friends, today I am talking about a season of peace and kindness, because at the end of the month, on January 30th, is the beginning of the season of nonviolence, which was started decades ago. And the Alliance for Global New Thought website has all the materials of 64 days and 64 ways to practice peacemaking, practice nonviolence, and forward those movements of Gandhi and Martin Luther King, the nonviolent movements that changed the world as we know it. And it's their legacy that we carry forward. So the 64 days, 64 ways of having nonviolent communication. There's materials for youth and for adults. So the key to peacemaking is in our communication with each other and with ourselves. Sometimes we say violent things towards ourselves. We put ourselves down in depreciating ways. And all of us can relate to times when the communication of another person has affected us in a way that was harmful and not loving. So my intention in today's message is that we all come away with enhanced peacemaking skills and acts of kindness to create a more peaceful world. I'm going to share some practical tools, which you have in a handout here and on the slides, and an example of why our words are so important, and leave us with a challenge and an inspiration to be involved in this season of nonviolence, or this season of peace and kindness. So first we need to talk about a couple of things, two things: self-awareness and emotional maturity. Self-awareness first we'll talk about, and it's on a slide, the very first slide. Self-awareness is knowing one's internal states, preferences, resources, and thoughts. And once seeing that connection and the conclusions drawn, and being able to change your mind to a more preferred outcome. So, knowing oneself, knowing our own internal states and preferences. And then our next slide is one definition of emotional maturity, which I found on an online dictionary that was called Your Dictionary. Emotional maturity is defined as how well you are able to respond to situations, control your emotions. I would say, I'm going to finish the quote first. Control your emotions and behave in an adult manner when dealing with others. So I would say regulate emotions rather than control them. We all have. Yeah. So emotional maturity is defined as how well you are able to respond, to situations. And being able to have a rational conversation or effective conversation with a significant other, your significant other, or someone important in your life when you disagree, instead of throwing things and ranting and raving, is an example of showing emotional maturity. That came right out of the dictionary. Now, I don't think many of us necessarily resort to ranting and raving and throwing things, but every once in a while we might slip up. We are not perfect. So it's important that our words and our actions build bridges rather than walls. And we all have a similar, I think, value and desire to respond instead of react, and a desire to refrain from ranting and raving and throwing things. So a lot of my ideas today come from this book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life by Marshall Rosenberg. In this book, there is a poem by Ruth Babermeyer called Words Are Windows or They're Walls. I feel so sentenced by your words. I feel so judged and sent away. Before I go, I got to know, is that what you meant to say? Before I rise to my defense, before I speak in hurt or fear, before I build that wall of words, tell me, did I really hear? Words are windows or they're walls. They sentence us or set us free. When I speak and when I hear, let the love light shine through me. There are things I need to say that mean so much to me. If my words don't make me clear, will you help me to be free? If I seemed to put you down, if you felt I didn't care, try to listen through my words to the feelings that we share. And now the next slide is a proverb scripture. One of my favorites, Proverbs, is 16:24, and it says, "Pleasant are words as honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones." Consider what unpleasant words are to the soul and to the bones, because our thoughts and our words become our biology. The vibration of them we hold in our bodies. So our feelings and emotions are a guidance system to where we're at in our thinking. In the work of Marshall Rosenberg, we find a framework where we can dialogue consciously. He calls it nonviolent communication, and in some circles it's called compassionate communication. When he was a kid in Detroit, a Jewish boy growing up in Detroit, after the Detroit riots, and he went to school, he was bullied simply because he was Jewish. And so out of his experience and understanding, he wanted to understand two things. One, what happens to disconnect us from our compassionate nature, leading us to behave violently and exploitatively? And the other side of that, conversely, what allows people to stay connected to their compassionate nature under the most trying of circumstances? And he made that his life's work, and his body of work. It results in the nonviolent communication. I mean, the Institute has done training people to lead dialogues of nonviolent communication. Let there be peace on earth. We sing it every day. And let it be with our words. Let it begin with our words. So what is nonviolent communication, you may ask? You see, we don't often consider how we communicate to be violent, but this is how Rosenberg defines it. If violence means acting in ways that result in hurt or harm, then much of how we communicate, judging others, bullying, having racial bias, blaming, finger pointing, discriminating, speaking without listening, criticizing others or ourselves, name-calling, reacting when angry, using political rhetoric, being defensive or judging who's good, who's bad, or what's right and what's wrong with people could indeed be called violent communication. So I'd like to acknowledge, too, that our unconscious racial bias can cause us to speak in ways that result in hurt or harm, which is why and an important reason to do this book study that we're starting. I'll bet many of us in New Thought haven't really thought about how, one, the unabashed use of ceremonies and rituals and practices of indigenous people can cause harm, or how using phrases like, "I don't see color," "I'm colorblind," denies and makes invisible the lived experience of people of color. Or when white-bodied people say we just don't see sometimes how, because we haven't become aware, it's been unconscious. We're all in a system called racism, whether we're black or white or whatever background or color we come from. And our words can be windows or they can be walls. And when we wake up and become conscious of that, then we can be the change we wish to see in the world. All right, next slide. Nonviolent or compassionate communication integrates the following 4 things. 1, a conscious set of principles that support living a life of compassion, collaboration, courage, and authenticity. How about that? Consciously living a life of compassion, collaboration, courage, and authenticity. 2, language, understanding how words contribute to connection or distance. 3, communication, knowing how to ask for what we want, how to hear others even in disagreement, and how to move toward solutions that work for all. Mutually beneficial action. And 4, that means of influence, sharing power instead of using power over others. In Unity of Justice, that's one of the arcs, which is moving from hierarchy system to shared responsibility. My mother used to tell me, and yours may have told you too, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, right? Well, I didn't like it when she said that particularly, but as I'm looking at it now, I don't think it means walk around repressing what you're thinking or feeling, but it does mean that there are ways to communicate and honor our truth without harming another or using violent communication. So let's get down to business. Next slide. Keep the following 3 things in mind before communicating something that you are displeased about. If you find yourself reacting, then it's probably a good idea to take a time out, to pause before saying or doing something anyway. Taking that time out to center and pray. Pray and come back to divine nature. And then ask yourself these questions. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be love? That spiritual power of love harmonizes, attracts, and heals. So will what I am about to say build a wall or a bridge between us? The second one is the work of Byron Katie. Is it true? Ask the question, is this really true, what I'm saying about what I want to say here? Byron Katie uses the work, and there's a website called thework.com that she offers freely for people to question their thoughts, untrue thoughts. So what is the meaning that you are making? If you're making an assumption, it's probably not true. And a lot of the time, the things that we are judging in others is also how we judge ourselves or some aspect of our shadow self. So using the work of Byron Katie to examine thoughts, you can find worksheets on thework.com. And the third thing is it kind? Is it going to build a wall or a bridge of understanding? We can be truthful about our experience and kind. And here are some tools as to how to do that. And believe me, we're all going to mess up from time to time. So remember, you don't have to be perfect in order to be successful. Okay? At this. We just need to keep working it, keep practicing it. So there's a workshop that Mayor and I have done at Unity churches and conferences called Unitizing Your Relationships. And we have taught in that I statements and reflective listening, 2 very important skills. I statements are so important because we can own our own feelings without saying, you made me feel that way, right? We can own our feelings by saying, I feel, fill in the blank, frustrated, angry, sad, embarrassed, list of feelings, when, and describe the concrete behavior. And then we added another, or Mayor added another one, which is, what I'd like to really see happen is. So here's an example of an I statement. I feel frustrated when you leave your dirty laundry on the floor because I value order, and it's hard for me to bend over and pick up because my back kind of bothers me. What I would like to see happen is that you put your laundry in the laundry broom or basket or hamper or whatever, and then I'd be glad to do the laundry. Something like that, just like this is where I'm coming from. It's not making you wrong, but just a request. That comes what I'd like to see happen next. And then you can discuss it, and negotiate. And this brings focus to our third unity principle, or to the third part of compassionate communication, which is knowing how to ask for what we want. Okay, and the other aspect is reflective listening, because when we reflect back what we hear, it gives the opportunity for clarification instead of misunderstanding. Many times a person, I don't know, you might have experienced, I have, when a person keeps repeating themselves the same thing over and over, over and over, over and over, it's because they don't feel heard. They didn't feel heard in the past. So when we reflect what we hear, instead of responding back or thinking about what to say to counter what it is they're saying, just responding back with what you heard them say as a compassionate form of communication. So we just completed a 5-week class of unitive dialogue for peacemaking and community building in ministry. And in it, we practiced the reflective listening skills of restorative circles and unitive dialogue, as outlined by the Alliance for Unitive Justice. So the skill of reflective listening is what I heard you say is, and then what you heard them say, and then, is that what you wanted me to hear? So you could go to the next slide. And when you reflect back, is that what you wanted me to hear? That can fill in, clarify, and until there isn't any more to clarify, then you can ask, is it, would you mind if I share my perspective? So remember that conflict isn't a bad thing, it's feedback. And it's an opportunity for us to, as Marshall Rosenberg outlined, to cooperate, to have compassion, and to share mutually beneficial outcomes. So we can move, one of the arcs of unitive justice is moving from opposition to synergy, or confrontation to connection. It's the same arc, it's the same structure. And the premise is our system of even thinking goes all the way back, of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, all the way back to the Code of Hammurabi, which preceded the Hebrew Scriptures. Our mass consciousness has believed in that kind of justice, and it still operates from that in a lot of ways. Many, it's amazing the many ways that you can see how that plays out. When Jesus himself outlined love and forgiveness to replace that law. Okay. So our unitive questions to ask, that's in the next slide, is what would you like me, so you're having a conversation with somebody and they're getting kind of heated or upset. They may not be upset with you. It could be about something else. But just, what would you like me to know about that? What would you like me to know about that? And then, after they've said they state what they like you to know, then you can reflect back what you heard. What I heard you say is. And then the next question is that what you wanted me to hear? And then and they say yes or no. And if it's no, then they get to clarify. Until there is no more, and they say, yes, that's what I wanted to hear, then you can ask, would you like to hear from my perspective? Communication is two-way street, and emotional maturity would allow both people to share their perspectives, right? So this is a powerful tool to use. You have it in your handouts. Those of you online, just type us a chat in the chat if you would like a handout, and we'll make sure that we can post it or send it to you, okay? Another self-awareness tip before having an important conversation is, one, and it's a slide, what do I really want for myself? Two, what do I really want for others? Three, what do I want for the relationship? And four, how would I behave if I really wanted these results? That's a self-awareness inventory there. Self-awareness inventory. What do I want for myself? What do I want for others? What do I want for the relationship? And how would I behave if I really wanted these results? And now I have a story from Chicken Soup for the Soul. And it's a story about how powerful kindness and how compassionate communication can change a person's life. There's a story in Chicken Soup for the Soul where a New York teacher who heard from a movement that started in California by Halise Bridges from Del Mar, California. It was a movement of telling someone they make a difference and giving a blue ribbon that says, "Who I am makes a difference." You may be familiar with that campaign. Okay, it started a long time ago. Who I am makes a difference. And each recipient in the school, was to share that, not just with their class, but out in the community. And as it turns out, a man in the community who was a junior executive was given a ribbon. And he, in turn, gave a ribbon to his boss and told him how he admired his creative genius. And his boss had been a grouchy and unhappy fellow. But this token of kindness affected him so much that he went home and he spoke to his teenage son, a 14-year-old son, and told him someone had given him a ribbon and asked him to pass it on to someone else, and he was thinking of him. And he said to his son, "My days are really hectic. I sometimes come home and I don't pay a lot of attention to you. Sometimes I scream at you for not getting good enough grades or that your bedroom is a mess. Tonight, I want to tell you, well, you're the most important person in my life, and I love you." Now, the young boy sobbed as his father told him this, and he told his father that he had been planning to commit suicide the next day because he didn't think his father loved him. And now he didn't have to do that. That's an impact. So we can use our words, we can connect, they can connect us or separate us. So let us be mindful that we can and do have that power to speak from the heart, to collaborate, and to share power instead of overpower another. There is no way to peace. Peace is the way. Attributed to Thich Nhat Hanh, who just passed away yesterday, Vietnamese Buddhist monk who has made a great impact in the world. Right now, let's begin this practice by turning to someone next to you in the room and saying, "Who you are makes a difference in my life." And those of you online, type it in the chat. Who you are makes a difference in my life. And then allow them to say it back. How does that feel? Unity of Richmond's vision is we are transformed lives, transforming the world. And this is no small task. We have our work cut out for us. We can be peaceful and kind to ourselves and to others. And we do have to transform ourselves, though, before we can transform the world. Because hurt people, and healed people, heal people. Now, there's an ancient wisdom from Lao Tzu about this peace and the practice of peace. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. And if there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. So, I challenge you to get involved with the Season of Nonviolence. Go to agnt.org website and find the daily quotes, the daily thoughts and meditations, which are 64 days from January 30th through April 4th. Those are the anniversary dates of the assassination of Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Let us strive to be kind with our words, to include not triangulating or gossiping. And I leave you with this challenge to tell at least one person that who they are makes a difference to you. And do it regularly. And together we'll bring more peace and kindness. We'll be the change we wish to see. So you have a handout. You can practice these practices, self-awareness, and the conversations. Yes? Question? Okay, thank you for asking. Again, yes, that isn't in the handout. agnt.org. That's the Alliance for Global New Thought. Yes, the letters A-G-N as in Nancy, T, yes. And we can share that in the e-news coming up. One other question, yes. Thank you. Who you are makes a difference in my life. Yes, all of you. And so I thank you, and let us then do the work, carry it forward for the season of peace and kindness and nonviolence. And now it's time to prepare for meditation with Fred Hess.
Remember, who you are means as much to me as anything I've ever experienced in my life. And I love each and every one of you. So let's get calm and reflective and sit in the silence as we begin this meditation. We are blessed to have a loving experience the love that God is in our lives, that works through us. We have this kindness and peace that emanates from us because God is there. We live in this place of kindness and peace from the inside and outside. We love ourselves as much as we love our children and our wives and our people in our lives. We live from this place of love and understanding. We allow it to grow in ourselves, be part of who we are, so we can reflect it to the world. We can love one another easily and without judgment by experiencing it ourselves in our own reflections of self-awareness, in our own reflections of meditation and prayer. We allow ourselves to walk this journey with others, because of others, and in love of others. We get to our destination without problems or upset, without thoughts or judgments, without believing or disbelieving. We can learn to listen to one another. Truly listen. And not reflect on what they are saying, but how does it feel to us? How does it resonate with me? How does it feel to hear? And then reflect back. Tell me more. Tell me more. Always tell me more. That is truly what Spirit wants for us, what we want for ourselves, and how Spirit shows up in us. Let it flow through you with the understanding of a saint, beautiful like a flower, loving like a rose, peaceful like a creek flowing in the distance, and like the wind flowing through the leaves in the trees. How gentle that is, how loving that is. Let it be you in this life. We can get there by understanding our true divinity of ourselves. So join with me in the silence as we reflect on this peace, love, and kindness emanating from you and me. Be the peace like a river flowing in the distance, like the wind flowing through the leaves. And always be willing to accept others where they are. Let that grow in your awareness of who you are. Let it be who you are. And always know that you are the love that God has for all of us. You are the love, the peace, and the kindness in each of us. Namaste. Blessings to each and every one of you, for you truly are the love of my life. bring the YOU up. Are there any of them here? And repeat after me. Divine love expressing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give. And I give. See, come. The ushers can come forward.
Lord of heaven and earth, Lord of heaven and earth,
Lord of all creation, of water, earth, and sky. The heavens are your tabernacle. Glory to the Lord on high. And God of wonders beyond our galaxy, you are holy, holy. The universe declares your majesty. You are holy, holy.
Lord of heaven and earth, Lord of heaven and earth.
Early in the morning, I will celebrate the light. And when I stumble into darkness,
I'll call your name by night.
I will call your name by night. And God of wonders beyond our galaxy, you are holy, holy. The universe declares your majesty. You are holy, holy. Lord of heaven and earth, Lord of heaven and earth. Hallelujah.
To the Lord of heaven and earth.
Hallelujah.
To the Lord of heaven and earth.
Hallelujah.
To the Lord of heaven and earth. Holy, 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 holy. Feel free to stand, y'all.
When God of wonders beyond our galaxy, you are holy, holy. The universe declares your majesty. You are holy, holy.
Again.
God of wonders beyond our galaxy, you are holy, holy. The universe of majesty. You are holy, holy.
Yes.
Wow, 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 wow. You are holy. Yes.
And you are
Great
holy.
to have you back in the house, Heather and Armand.
Yes, good to be back.
And Forrest, it's always wonderful to hear
And
you
our beautiful
play acoustic
babies in the
guitar
back.
and all that. We have, yes, we have young ones in back who have been down in Children's Church today, so I'm going to invite them up.
Yes.
And while they come up, if there's anybody who would like to share what you were up to down there, we'd love to hear it. And I want to welcome and say hello to Peggy White, Sandy Beekler, Edie Cabello from South Africa,
Ooh, welcome.
Barbara Smith, Vicky Cantelmo, Peggy
Yay.
Rogers, Vicky Rust. Wow, thank you, and all of those who are, Lori Chamberhorn, Susie Whitehurst. Aren't you in
We
Florida?
love you.
Yeah, and all of the rest of you. I don't know if you hadn't signed in here, but I know that there are others on
Yes.
YouTube as well as Facebook. So thank you. We're so blessed to have you, and let us have our children.
Welcome
come
the
up.
children.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Good morning. So today we talked about where God is and what God is. And do you want to share anything that you learned today or we talked about today? What did we do in class? No pressure. Okay. We read the Bible story about Moses and the burning bush, but then we talked about where God is today in our lives and that God is within us and that divinity within us. And we also made a card. I want to show them the card that we made, for Ronnie Russell. And there's lots of room for everyone to sign it. So we invite you all to sign it. Is there a table out there we can put it on? We'll put it out there, and we had a wonderful morning. So thank you.
Thank you. For our youth and our caregivers and our teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Yes. If there are any prayer chaplains, we know there are prayer chaplains in the house, please come see a prayer chaplain if you wish to have a celebration prayer or you have cares or concerns. You can pray with a prayer chaplain in the front of the room after the service, or if you are online, you can fill out a prayer request form in there. So thank you for joining us today, and we want to say thank you to Forrest Link, to Ryan Bowman, Heather Orenfleet, and Armand Leake for the beautiful music today. And back in AV, we have Ruth on sound. Ruth Fleet on sound, Natasha Fleet, and Bernice Baker. Thank you so very much.
And thank you, Sam, for watching the little
yes,
lettuce.
and Samantha. Yes. And also there is a birthday card for Kristen out in the foyer too, because it was her birthday day before yesterday, and she's celebrating, and we want to wish her a happy birthday. So, thank you. All right, we bless our gifts. We give thanks for the gifts that support our mission of creating a spiritually awakened world. The light of God. Yes, we bless those. And now let us say our prayer for protection, followed by let there be peace on earth. All right, the light of God surrounds us. We are light. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. The power of God protects us. We are power.
The presence of God watches over us. We are presence. Wherever we are, God is.
We are
Divine. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.
With
God as creator, heavenly all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth.